Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, the first ever Cut Sweat Live for the Valspar Championship. And we got a good one to come into, I'm not going to lie to you, because right now, as we currently stand, the cut is at +3 for the tournament, and we have the top 68 in ties at +3 right now. So there are a couple players on the field that if you're someone stuck, actually it's now top 69 in ties, so we're running out of real estate here. The cut could switch back to +2 pretty quickly. Ernie Els is on 18 right now, the end of the snake pit. If he birdies, he could push the cut to T70, and then Shi Shendu from China is also on the front 9 right now. He's through 14 holes. He's a +3. If he birdies to get himself up, he could push the cut back. But right now, it's really looking like it's going to stick at +3, which is great news for anyone with like Sam Saunders or Graham McDowell or Patrick Rogers, Martin Flores. All those guys seem safe at the moment. Of course, there's still players at +2 right now, still on the course. Bobby Garrigus, Jonathan Randolph, and Abraham Answer, who could fall back and help solidify that +3 number. Guys that are making charges from the outside looking in, the only guy at +4 right now is Billy Hurley III. He's on 17, so unless he eagles the actual 9th hole because he started on the back, he's really irrelevant to what the cut is going to sit at. And at +5, there's a few guys. So you have Danny Lee, who is through 15, Ben Silverman, who's through 14, and Ty, it's an amateur, so it really doesn't matter. So Danny Lee and Ben Silverman are two outside shots. They're already through the snake pit. They're currently on the front 9. If they make 3 birdies and they get themselves to +2, they could potentially affect the cut at the moment. So that's what we're looking at. +3 is looking like the number. And if we go over to one of my favorite Twitter accounts in the universe, @CutSwit, so shout out Nelson Adcock for this one. There are a bunch of different things happening right now. So with the cut line at +3, if we're talking about DraftKings lineups, the 5 of 5 cut percentage right now is basically below 5% in almost every single contest, which is kind of crazy. Right now it's at 3% in the $3.20 max birdie. For the $8 best ball, it's at 4%. In the $20 scramble 3 tournament max, it's at I believe that's 2%, 3%, and in the $5 giant double up and the $444 pressure putt, it's at 5% right now. So as it turns out, with all the top guys missing the cut at the moment, you have Spieth who missed the cut, Rory who's missed the cut. They're both done. Henrik Stenson missed the cut. I mean, 3 of the top 4 price players on DraftKings all not making the weekend is going to be relatively problematic for a lot of people making the cut. It looks like the optimal start, if you're really going with it, it can take into consideration that you're going to have some of the top end players because no one's leaving like $3,000 on the board. Justin Rose, Paul Casey, Justin Rose, Sergio, Paul Casey, and then throwing in Tiger Woods as your second player there as well. Seem to be the optimal start if you really want to go for it. It's kind of funny that the leader right now, Corey Connors, is the one who wasn't even eligible for DraftKings on the main slate because he was an alternate replacing Kyle Stanley in the field. It wasn't even eligible to be taken. So if he ends up winning, which he probably will not end up winning as the weekend plays itself out, that the winner, the winning points, so bonus 10 points, could just be thrown directly out the window, and then we're all competing for second place. I got 1 or 2 teams. I have one team for sure if Chris Kirk can, for the love of God, hold on. That's actually in the running in the $3 right now. It's been up as high as 26 during the day. I think right now it's around 300, but to have 6 of 6 going through with Snedeker and Paul Casey both in the mix is, it's nice to have. If you guys have any good teams out there right now, leave it in the YouTube chat. Let me know what's going on. We'll talk about some of the players that we're still sweating at the moment. It's hard to judge this. I didn't know if 5:30 was the right time to start, whether 6 o'clock was the right time to start. We're trying to work out the kinks for the Masters here so we can get a really good sweat show on the go, and maybe we'll do that for more than half an hour to get everyone settled up, because there's going to be a lot of players who are really in the mix to miss the cut at the Masters. Here it seems like most of the players that you want are all the way through. So let's check out the chat right now and see what's happening. I haven't even logged into it yet. Oh, and now I'm having the volume on my laptop. I can hear myself talking. CH3 gonna be close. Let's see what Howell is up to on this one. My computer's running slow because I'm streaming everything at once and trying to figure everything out. Let's see, where are you at, Charles Howell? Oh good, my Control F is no longer working. That's gonna be relatively problematic. He is in at +3 if you're sweating him out. I mean, he's finished in the clubhouse, so as long as the cut doesn't move, which again, it doesn't look like it's going to past +3, then you're in relatively good shape. I do have some guys for weekend golf that I was looking at least the initial look. So I have 5 guys. One of them, Dominic Bozzelli, $7,400. We know that he came inside the top 5 here last year. A relatively popular sleeper fringy pick coming into the week. He is currently at -2.3 strokes putting for the week. Tee to green, he's 12th in approach, 6th from around the green. The problem is going to be that right now 80 players are through the cut line if everyone stays where they are at +3, which means since there's more than 78 players qualified for the weekend that we're going to have an MDF, so a secondary 54-hole cut at the moment, which will end up coming through after round 3. So for weekend golf, generally you can set it and forget it. Placement points out the window, take whoever you want, but with a secondary cut coming in that could affect up to 10 players, you're going to have to be mindful. And a lot of people will probably stay away from the cut. I mean, let's backtrack that for a second. There's a lot of people who won't even know what an MDF is, so they're not even going to pay attention to it. But the people who do pay attention to it will probably stay away from a lot of people near the cut line because of the inherent risk that goes along with it, thus killing that ownership. You can get some of these guys that have not been putting well and playing really well tee to green that maybe you can flip your round a little bit. I see Matt Kuchar just finished up his round right here, having some handshakes on the green. So that's someone to pay attention to. $7,400, Bozzelli. Charles Schwartzel, $8,100. -2 strokes putting for the week, 14th tee to green, 4th in approach. He's $8,100. He's someone that I would be targeting here. Keegan Bradley on the green. Nice green in regulation through the snake pit here. He's at -2 right now on the par 3. Russell Knox is at, where are you at, Russell Knox? You are -1.693 strokes putting so far for the week. He's actually 10th off the tee, 9th in approach, and 6th from around the green. That's 18th overall tee to green. He's $7,600. Nick Watney is a real outlier. He looked really good after the first round, but for the week, -2.7 strokes putting, $7,300. An excellent track record at this event over the years. He's actually 6th tee to green, or 6th off the tee right now, 29th in approach, and 36th from around the green. So another guy that's kind of on that periphery that you can have a look at for weekend DraftKings golf to figure it out. And probably the biggest one we have right now, -1.7 strokes putting. I know that he actually has a decent run right now, but at $7,100, Sean O'Hair is 3rd in approach, 9th off the tee, 15th around the green. He is 1st tee to green of any player in the field right now. $7,100. You have to think, hey, he's in the mix at the moment. Is Sean O'Hair going to make a run? Well, he's lost in a playoff here before. He's won here before. Wasn't big on him coming into the week, but he is playing really well tee to green. If he can find some semblance of a putting stroke right now, Sean O'Hair at $7,100 is going to be a steal in weekend golf. And we'll try to catch you up on some more players as everything gets out. Corey Connors has a par putt right here to remain the leader at -5. And we'll see if a weekend round with, I guess he'd be playing with Ryan Palmer, and they might squeeze in Tiger, I guess, into the mix right now. That could go with Casey. That could go to Snedeker, depending on how everything ends up shaking out. But seeing him play with Tiger, it seems like all the veterans and established guys are having problems playing with Tiger, as evidenced by Stenson and Spieth this week. But, you know, Sam Burns had no problems doing it at the Honda Classics. Maybe the younger guys are just completely unfazed by Tiger, and the older guys and the bigger stars are. So, again, let's go to the chats right now. Let's see what you guys are sweating. Anyway, we can get Webb a designated putter for the weekend. I think Webb, he just missed like a 3-footer for a kick and birdie, which I'm kind of kicking myself for, because I looked at my outright card. It's not doing so badly this week for like the first time in ages. Got Webb in the mix, got Brant Snedeker in the mix, Brendan Grace, Cam Smith a little bit back, Si Woo is up there as well. Chris Kirk was definitely getting it done until he made a double bogey, and then boop, Chris Kirk was gone. Right now for the week, Webb's actually gaining strokes putting. He's just losing strokes today marginally, so I wouldn't be too worried about what Webb is up to. Any good values for betting? Not really. I threw up Bill Haas earlier in the day. He was 100-1, and he was only 3 shots off the lead. I'm not sure what he's at right now. I can go bring that up and see what some of the live odds are for the moment. Just having Tiger so close to the top of the leaderboard is actually helping out the odds of the guys that are a little farther back. Bill Haas is still 80-1. I think that he's a player who we talk about Tiger's comeback and everything like that. Don't forget that Bill Haas was involved in a fatal car accident a month ago where the driver of the car ended up deceased and one of his friends. So it's been a hard road back. He's only a month later. It'd be a really nice story to see Bill Haas get himself in the mix. But the current odds right now from Bet365, you have Tiger Woods 4-1, Casey 6.5-1. Paul Casey, all right. Justin Rose 7.5, Snedeker's 10, Webb is 14, Corey Connors in the lead right now 20-1. I don't like it, but if you want to bet the leader after 36 holes, then by all means, you're still getting 20-1. Ryan Palmer's a shot off the lead. He's 20-1. Patrick Reed's 22, Louis 25, Serge is 25. Oh no, that actually just went up. Serge just dropped down to 33 as the real time goes. Hadwin is 40, Walker's 40, Grace is 50, Sam Burns is 45. There'd be no chance in hell Sam Burns would be 45-1 had we not all just seen him play with Tiger Woods, and now everyone knows who his name is. Had he have not played that round on Sunday and we saw every shot from Sam Burns, he'd be 90-1 right now, I guarantee it. But this is the world that we live in, and the betting markets are influenced by who people actually want to bet. So 45-1 is what it is for Sam Burns. So those are some of the things right now. Josh Culp asked what the 6-6 percentage is looking like. Like I mentioned, if it sticks at +3, it's going to be less than 5% in almost all contests. And the guys that screwed us beyond the top guys, Kevin Streelman was super chalky and looked like he had rebounded to make the cut. Not going to be the case. Tony Finau dunked it coming down the stretch. That was just pitiful. Anyone who was watching PGA Live this morning, the Tiger was going on and Hadwin was going on. We were watching everyone. Finau looked like things were going to be all right. Then he got himself into the woods, and then he two-putted, and that was sort of the end of Tony. They went bogey, and that was the end of his day. So that kind of sucks. Ryan Moore kind of crushed a lot of my teams. Even some of the fringe guys. It was really helpful that Ben Martin went birdie to end his round, get in at -2, and that's going to save me in a lot of spots. Chris Kirk is saving me a lot of spots, but even the randos that I took shots on, like Johnny missed the cut. Retief Goosen, he was +10. Nice showing, Teef. Thanks a lot. Sang Moon Bay was there until he played his final 9 holes of the day. Then it was just a bogey train off the go for Sang Moon Bay. So that was no fun. But where is, I guess they had the big story, I guess, if you had Kevin Na. That really sucks considering that he withdrew even before his tee time was supposed to go. Andrew Putnam got into the field because of it. Or was it Adam Shenneck? It's one of those losers. Anyway, Na screwed everyone. And then Bryson withdrew this morning because he was incredibly under-cursed. So that sucks for Bryson. Maybe he'll get his back all straight, and we'll see where Cuss moves on to next week and where the cursing continues. I mean, we've had Cheston Hadley, not so great. Ricky Fowler cursed last week. This week, Bryson DeChambeau. It's not looking good for the Ander curse over the past 3 weeks. Hopefully, he can set his sights on someone at the Masters. Then we can just completely fade them as it comes down. A lot of people hate Woodland. Yeah, what is Woodland up to? He was there and then he wasn't. Let's see. Let's bring up the screen for a second, Paul. Let's try to get to see if we can work out the kinks here and bring up some of the live cut sweat screens. Where are we at right now? We got Johnny Hunt +6. Let's scroll on up a little bit. Ben Silverman, he still has a shot to make the cut if you had it. Grayson Murray officially missed the cut. Rory, Ryan Moore, thanks for nothing. Thanks for not showing up. There's Streelman at that +5. We got Sang Moon Bay. They're right around there. For a little while, it looked like +5. If everyone had completely melted down and withdrew, we'd be fine. So let's get right up to, there we go. There's the cut line right now. We have, like I mentioned, top 69 in ties are the cut right now, which would, with the T81, as you can see with Chez Reavie right there and Ted Potter Jr., that more than 78 players qualify for the cut. We will have the MDF, and it's really looking like the +3 is going to stick for the moment. And let's see. From the chat, need Duffner to make the cut, and he crashed on you late. Yeah, well, that really sucks because Jason Duffner really did have a really strong track record here. Same as Ben Ann had a putt for birdie to get to that +3 line. They both ended up +4, and that's where a lot of some of the chalkier players were going to end up being, and that's what ended up happening to force a lot of these lineups to be less than 5% in the 6-6 margin. Gary Woodland the same way, stuck at +4. He's just screwing us out here. Michael Byrne from the chat says that Sam Burns is a stud. Thanks, Michael. Maybe you think that, maybe that is the case, but the public perception, which dictates odds, does not believe that for a second. Like I mentioned, if he hadn't played that round with Tiger, his odds wouldn't be what they are right now. Has Tim ever predicted the winner? No. Tim has never predicted a winner. He went 0 for last season in his predictions. He's 0 for this season. In fact, I mean, sometimes he makes multiple predictions. Just a lot of the time, his cut percentage is like below 50% on the guys that he picks. His withdraw percentage is at like 10%. That's how Andrew cursed these guys are. Cust is so cussed, he is delusional to his powers of custing people. That's true. He does not believe in the curse, although maybe it's seeping. And the day that he starts believing it and trying to use it for his power, we saw that last weekend at WGC Mexico when he picked everyone besides Phil Mickelson to win, the guy he actually wanted to win, and it worked. We'll see if he continues to do that. It's something to monitor going forward, Tim's Twitter account, to see what's up. And, I mean, realistically, like I mentioned, those 5 guys, O'Hare, Watney, Knox, Charles, and Bozelli, were really the big ones that I was looking for in terms of weekend golf. Now, you can make your other plays if you think that Tiger is going to end up closing this out. Take Tiger, take one of these guys to fill out the rest of your roster. Because at the top of guys that have actually made the cut, Sergio has made the cut. He's -1 right now. Did he finish at -1? Let's find out what the Serge is up to here. Ooh, someone almost chipped in. Who was that? No, can only see the back of the person's head there. Maybe it's Sam Burns. Who knows? Stud chipping in from the bunker. Almost. Let's see. Sergio finished at even for the day, +1. He's going to be the highest price guy of all the players that made the cut. Right now, he is $9,500. So you don't need a ton of salary cap relief because no one is over $10,000 for the weekend slate. But I do think that trying to exploit some of the players at +3, +2, the riskier players with the MDF looming is the way that you want to play it. Shiz's bogey on the last to miss the cut and more missing 2-footers is going to haunt you all weekend. Hey, that is the fun of weekend golf. Then you don't have to worry about these guys. Now you can have people on Saturday who are going to miss, I mean, probably Adam Scott will somehow end up being like right on the fringe of the MDF line. Then he'll end up missing like a 1-footer to miss the cut because that sounds like something that Adam Scott would do. Tiger to win the tournament at +950 this morning. Yeah, well, now it's down to 4-1. I don't see a whole lot of value in that. So if you can build some cases around Tiger with longer odds of maybe guys that you like to potentially jump up and get into the mix, you would almost be better off betting one of the 80-1 guys who are -1 right now or at even. Hopefully they can get into the mix, and then it gives you better hedge equity for Tiger when he's even money if they can get into a head-to-head situation. But if you think Tiger's going to run away with it, obviously 4-1 is a great price. Just having Tiger run away with it, it's 2 rounds. Let's see him put it together for another 2 rounds. It's not like he was the sharpest player on the course Sunday at Honda. To see a full 4 rounds out of Tiger would be supremely nice for anyone who loves golf and loves Tiger like myself, but still kind of want to see it first before it happens. Aaron Baddeley to get back to even right now. Let's see, Baddeley starting it out on the right and missing the putt. There's classic Aaron Baddeley for you. He's always a nice first-round leader guy, but we'll see how it goes. Do MDF people get paid? Yeah, they get paid, so technically they would make money towards like a one and done. Not much money, mind you, but they will accrue FedEx Cup points as well based on whatever the cut line is, but they don't get to play on Saturday, which is super tough. Oh, it was Webb on 9. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I'm seeing it out of the corner of my eye. I'm seeing the screen over here. First time doing this, trying to work out the kinks. Probably should have started like an hour earlier. Now that I think about it, when more people are on the course. Steve Stricker, missing a birdie putt, is in at 1 under, though. He coming off the win on the Champions Tour last week. Stricker's looking all right. Depends on how the conditions play. I should probably look that up to see how the wind is going to factor into this on the weekend. I know originally, Ernie Els makes it through the cut at +3 as well. Originally, it looked like it was going to be kind of disastrous with potential delays on Sunday, but I'm not really sure how that's going to come out. Oh, Sam Burns for par. Studley putt from like 20 feet, making par to stick at 2 under. Let's see. Here we go. Windfinder.com. I'm using the Tarpon String / Rolling Oaks weather station. So for Saturday, it looks like we're going to get relatively even. I think they'll be on the course around 10 a.m. 9-mile-per-hour winds, 9, 9, 7, all throughout the day with gusts up to 13. It looks like it's going to get calmer as the day goes along, so maybe you do want to track some later guys. It's not a significant difference, though. And then on Sunday, the wind is way down. The original stuff that we were looking at in terms of precipitation doesn't look like it's going to come until Monday now. Of course, it's the weather. It can change. Look how much it's changed in the 2 days since I last looked at it. But it looks like earlier on in the morning around 8, 5 miles per hour, 7 miles per hour, 6 miles per hour, then up to 8 with wind gusts of 10. So it doesn't look like wind is going to be a supreme factor. If the course does toughen up, though, A lot of ththese guys around even, +1, -1, can get themselves back into the mix. We've seen it. I mean, look at Duffner, look at Woodland, look at Chris Kirk. I mean, look at Siwoo Kim, who almost had an albatross earlier, at least according to Shot Tracker. It was an eagle. You can get yourself up, but then boom, boom, boom. There's bogeys abound, especially coming in. If you're live betting this, I mean, we've seen the snake pit eat people up throughout the course of the first 2 days, that if you're standing with the lead on 16, I mean, hell, we saw it with Adam Hadwin last year. He took that double and then boom, it was a race all over again. I was feeling good about my Hadwin money at the time, and then I just started getting the sweats. It was a bad idea. And then fortunately, Patrick Cantlay put it in the bunker, Adam Hadwin made a putt, and well, we were good to go. But just because your guy's leading by 2 strokes stepping onto the 16th green does no means guarantee that he's going to end up winning this tournament. Who is your bookie and where do you get? I don't have a bookie. I live in Canada, so I can legally bet stuff online. With the T5, I use Bet365, and it's like the first round leader T5 is like the softest bet. You pick 10 guys, you bet the first round leader with the each way. If one of them hits the each way, now you need to do it with guys that are 80-1 and above. But if one of the guys hits the top 5, you make a mini profit for the week on the first round leader bets. And if one of the guys hits, boom, you're laughing. You can basically, you can put yourself week to week and tread water without having a losing week with first round leaders with the top 5s. And if you do hit one outright, then you're paid off for the next 10 events if you just want to play 10 guys at 100-1 every single time. So it's one of the softer bets that are out there. The Bet365 is the only place that I've seen it that allows to do it on a week to week basis. And overall, the T5s, Bet365 does that as well. I know on some of the European books like Betfair, they might offer you a top 8 as an each way, which is super nice. I wish we got that around here. For the majors, sometimes they'll do top 8, sometimes they'll do top 6. So, but that will never really happen for futures. Right now, for the future bets, if you're looking at the Masters or US Open, they're offering top 5 odds right now as an each way. When the Monday comes along and they reassess everything, you could get top 7, you could get top 6. Generally, it's if you're not seeing gigantic odds that you want to capitalize on right now for futures markets, it's always best to wait until the Monday and they reset the odds, because frankly, the future odds that you get are never going to look as good on some people that you're going to see the week of. Like if someone is 40-1, 40-1, 40-1, all the way up until the Masters, when the prices get reset on that Monday, they could all of a sudden be 66, and then you get the option to have the T6, T7 as an each way instead of just the top 5. So I hope that makes sense. Can Zach Johnson make a run? Sure. I mean, he played really well today. I believe he was one of the few that was being propped up by his putting. I could be completely off base on that. Wish my computer wasn't going so friggin' slow. On the live chat, I try not to swear too much, so bosses don't like that. So let's see. Where are you at, Zach Johnson? Zach Johnson currently 1 under, -3 for his round. Strokes gained putting for the week. He was a hot fire putter today, gaining over a stroke on the field for the week. He's about a half stroke gained in putting. Let's see where he is making all of his strokes. So that's my one thing about Hadwin. The putting came around a little bit today. The iron game was a little bit down. He continued to save himself around the green, which is something that he should do. I believe he's top 15 right now in strokes gained around the green of anyone on tour. So it's nice to know that he has that to fall back on if the irons do heat up. He's someone that can get back into the mix. And just, this is not loading at all. Here we go. Around the green. Approach to the green. Zach Johnson is 22nd. He is 62nd from around the green. Strokes gained tee to green total for Zach Johnson is 20th, so he's right around where he should be, 63rd in the field in putting overall, tied 48th in terms of off the tee. I can see it. Zach Johnson almost falls into that Bill Haas category, that Brant Snedeker category, even Steve Stricker. I know Steve Stricker's a bit older, but like they're guys that are going to keep it on the fairway, hopefully, and then you rely on them too. Zach's a bit better with his wedges if he can take advantage of some of the shorter holes or maybe even some of the par 3s with Brant. You know that if he gets the hot putter, he's going to end up being lights out. Same with the wedges with him. Stricker, wedges, and putting, almost that kind of thing. So one of those guys I feel like is going to end up being in the mix. Unfortunately, the short games are looking good enough right now that they can probably save themselves, but they're going to have to go on a run. Like we saw Asswagon, who strangely enough had the round of the day at -6. Ryan Palmer was -5. And even when you look at the top of the leaderboard, you think like ball striking guys like Ryan Palmer, Tiger, Paul Casey, Justin Rose is up there, Webb Simpson is up there. So Then even Corey Connors. Corey Connors is basically gaining strokes in all facets of the game. He's hitting every fairway, he's hitting every green, and making a few putts. That's how he's up there. So if you're just going to rely on putting and have that be the only thing that you do well, that's not going to translate well. But some of these pedigree players that are just lurking just off the lead, off the first page of the leaderboard, I think one of these guys is going to make a run. Zach Johnson is definitely a guy that can do that. I had my money invested in Bill Haas around the same number, so I'd prefer that it'd be him that do it, but that's the way that I would look at it. When does Rory's tour exemption run out? Poor Rory. I'm just hoping he tanks and tanks and tanks. I already have my U.S. Open money on Rory in, that he can figure it out somewhat before that. Not only is he not playing well, he started running bad earlier. His putt on 17, he needed to go birdie to make the cut, and then boom, it hits it was on 16, hits a pebble or something, some sort of bump in the middle of the green, his ball flies up, and all of a sudden he's not looking so hot anymore. I hope he can get it figured out. Spieth is the one that I'm not really concerned about Spieth. I just hope that he continues to play poorly, and then everyone. So remind me, if you're out there, that I still think that Jordan Spieth is going to win the Masters. I don't care how poorly he's playing. But I don't want to get to the point where I'm so shook by how awful he looks, like in the mind's eye, that I get off of him for the Masters. And I just want that price to drop a little bit. I'm already invested with some parlay money up from his 8-1. I saw today he had dropped to 12-1. If he continues to play poorly, you might get Jordan Spieth at like 16-1, something like that. I'm not guaranteeing Jordan Spieth wins the Masters, but every single year you look up and Jordan Spieth is in the mix somewhere. So it's almost one of those, I think it's David Jane, who always puts out the don't fade Spieth at the Masters Bart Simpson chalkboard. I will not do it. Forget who it is. If it's not David Jane, it's someone else out there. I'm sorry about who it is. I get these people twisted in my mind when I'm seeing it scroll across my screen. But like, if there comes to be some weird situation where no one wants to play Jordan Spieth anymore and he ends up at like 10% in the Millionaire Maker, it's probably a situation you want to capitalize on. Now, I know I said that going overweight on an under-owned Rory this week would work out, and it didn't. But Justin Rose ended up kind of doing the same thing, although he was a bit more popular than I had expected him to be. Hi, I bet Gary Woodland after the second hole today. Is there a support group I can join? Hey, this is the spot for terrible betting. I'm like the king of awful bets and not winning. So, I mean, this is the support group you need. That's real bad news. Let's see, does Tim make any bets or does he just talk about them? I feel like he'd be broke if he made bets. Tim sometimes bets, sometimes he doesn't. I think he gets enough heat and rush out of it by just mentioning it on Twitter and everyone giving him slack for it. He doesn't need to bet at this point. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I'm not around the guy 24/7. I don't know what the hell he's up to. He's probably just outside chain smoking and eating at Chili's for all I know. Paul Casey going to break some hearts this weekend. I don't know. I mean, that could go either way because I know there are people invested in Paul Casey. I am invested in him in a DraftKings capacity, not as an outright. I do know some people with an outright ticket on him, and they're far more likely to be heartbroken than the people. Imagine Paul Casey wins this week. A week after, people kind of jump the shark and be like, hey, I'm going to be in on Paul Casey this week. I was one of those people. I bet Paul Casey at WGC Mexico. I was like, what am I doing betting Paul Casey? The guy never wins. Now to have him win this week after no one bet him, then it would be, pretty crappy. That would be a general heartbreaker. But I could see him being in the mix here all the way through. Asswagon gets overlooked every single DraftKings tournament. Sure, he gets overlooked every single DraftKings tournament, but there's usually a pretty good reason for that. Let's see how. He's 10 of 12 in cuts made. This is why. Honda Classic, T68. Genesis Open, T68. T26, 69th, cut. T36, T58. T45 dating back to the RSM. So his best finish so far in 2018 in the calendar year is at the Career Builder, and he was T36. He's one of those guys that makes the cut, yet if he gets to the weekend, he's just going to be horrible. So he can't string together 4 consecutive rounds. I think that's why there's no real upside in playing Tyrone Asswagon. So he's risky to make the cut every single week so you don't use him in cash to get your 6 of 6. And even on the weekend, he's not contributing all that much to your roster because he usually ends up tanking it anyway. Casey is the abusive boyfriend of golf. He makes you feel great for a while, then lets you down in every conceivable way. I mean, that can go. We're not gender specific here. That could be the abusive girlfriend as well. I mean, it works both ways. It depends on who's the alpha and who's the beta in any sort of situation. But yes, that is something that Paul Casey will do to you. Well, so what does Tim do now? Does he still teach? I mean, the private life of Tim Andercuss is a giant mystery to everyone. So if Tim wants to tell you what he's up to, I'm not here to spill the beans on what Tim is up to. Big things with Tim Andercuss, though. He's a far more composed person in real life than he appears to be online, put it that way. Dr. Cuss, that is true. He is a doctor. So any more questions here? So this was the half hour we got on the cut. Just going to check back in here for a second to see if any sort of things are moving. Corey Connors is still having 2 holes on the course. Keegan Bradley got himself to -3. He's still on the course. So, hey, Keegan's not a disaster putting this week, and all of a sudden he's inside the top 20. That's classic Keegan Bradley stuff. We'll see if he can keep that up throughout the weekend. It does look like minor +3 is going to be locked in at the price. L's finished up. He's not moving it. If this guy's going to make the cut, I'm probably going to have to learn his name at some point. If someone can phonetically spell it for me in the chat, that would be really nice. Zi Chen Du from China. He's at T68 right now. The last player on the course who is at +3 is 2 over for the day through 16 holes. He can't really affect it unless someone else makes some sort of glorious charge, like Jonathan Randolph goes birdie, birdie. Then it would actually take one other person. So it looks like unless Ben Silverman goes birdie, birdie, birdie to finish his round on 7, 8, 9, like Ben Martin did, by the way. That's the only way the cut could be pushed back up to +2 as it stands right now. So put that at probably a less than 1% chance of happening. So that's the way that I would be looking at it right now. Let's check back in with Cut Sweat, see if they have any more information for us going right now. Check out how your lineups are doing. So I had mentioned earlier that it's 5% in the giant $5 double up in the $444 pressure putt. And that's how it's sticking right now, but the numbers have dropped in the 3 birdie. It's going to be 3%, 3.5%-ish in the 8. In the $33 dog leg, you're looking at around 3.5% for 6 of 6 lineup. So if you have a 6 of 6 lineup and you have some guys near the top of the leaderboard, you got a chance. Honestly, I mean, it's going to take those 6 guys to probably a winner, a second place, 2 other guys inside the top 10, the other 2 inside the top 25 to actually win a giant GPP. But just having the only way that this wouldn't really work out, I suppose, that if Connors ended up winning since he wasn't in the system overall, that potentially a 5 of 6 could no, that wouldn't even work because you would need those 5 of 6 points. You would need the winner points in a 5 of 6 lineup. So a 6 of 6 lineup probably is going to win this week, as it does most weeks. And if the 5 of 6 wins, that means someone really outrageous that no one owns had won, and he's on one of those 5 of 6 rosters, and they have everyone else inside the top 6. So if you got a 6 of 6, you're live. I mean, that's all you can really ask for after 36 holes. It doesn't really matter where you stand. It's nice to be near the top of the standings, but there's been a lot of people out there who do the old screenshot after 36 holes. I'm winning $100,000, and they don't win any money by the time Sunday comes along. So temper expectations a little bit. But again, if you do have 6 of 6 players, you're looking pretty good right now. Let's see what else is going on. Check in with Twitter. See if people are going with Twitter. You gents don't have the odds of the Browns to make the playoffs, do you? I do not have that right now. Staying at +4 or +5 have a chance from 8 minutes ago? No. And if you're watching this, you'd know that. That's why you got to watch the show. And frankly, figuring out the cut line shouldn't be as difficult as people make it out to be. Yes, when it's earlier in the day and you don't know what it's going to be, depending on how a certain wave ends up playing or where the trajectory of all of the scores are going to go, that would be fine and everything. But, like, come on, you should have a sense of where it is, especially when there's like 5 people left on the course. Let's be real here. Go back to the chat just for a second. Pat, just call Zijing Dao as Marty Do. I don't even know what that means. Any live odds looking? I haven't done the full research. It's easier to do once all the rounds are finished in terms of live odds in order to figure out where people are in the strokes gained categories to really have an easier sense rather than clicking through player by player because there's always someone you're going to miss or something that you overlook. Once you have them in a table, Data Golf is really good for this. Chris Hollinger puts out some really good work as it pertains to tables day to day, breaking down the statistical ramifications of where guys are actually getting their strokes from. So those are 2 places that I follow that I find do a really good job of keeping that in place. Never screenshot curse yourself. Just wait. That's a really good thing. Almost time for a sig break for Mr. Mayo. Good luck this weekend. That's true. That would be really nice to have a sig here as we get out. Tyrod traded to the Browns. Is that true? I haven't really been looking at it. Paul, is that true? Did you see that? Let's see. Tyrod. Forget my Tyrod. The Bills just dumped Tyrod to the Browns. All right, so they got Jarvis Landry. They got Tyrod Taylor. They got the first pick. They got the fourth pick. I guess.
2 and 14.
2 and 14?
That's my prediction.
Oh, for the record, 2 and 14 with Tyrod at quarterback. It's kind of trade. If they're going to take a quarterback, I guess guess they're going to sign Tyrod for, I guess, 1 year? I mean, that seems like a really odd landing spot if you're going to draft a quarterback. And you had Kaiser as sort of a placeholder anyway. I guess the Browns are legitimately considering a run this year and then pivoting to maybe one of their other quarterbacks. Or we'll just get into a situation where they draft the Nate Peterman of the future in Cleveland and they just replace Tyrod when they're looking good midseason. See how that works out for the Bills in exchange for the 65th overall pick. A lot of trades in football. This is supposed to be about golf. I'm sorry, folks. We're going to do a recap of NFL free agency next Thursday morning. Me, Cust, and Garion will be live in studio, so I'll have some initial rankings for each of the skill position for football. We'll go over all the free agent signings that have happened so far, all the trades, how that affects, and I'm going to come back next week because I'm going on vacation for a few days, going to Mexico. Might actually play the El Camillien course down there, and maybe I can have some more insight to the OHL Classic in the upcoming years, but I'll be gone until Tuesday of the next week, so when I come back, we'll do the golf shows, then Jake Seeley will join me to break down all the real ramifications of all the free agency. When I got Cust on the line, it'll just be hot takes all about it. He's going to tell me how now that DeMarco Murray isn't in Tennessee anymore, Derrick Henry is the #1 running back, and that the Jets are going to sign DeMarco Murray, and then he'll actually be the #1 running back. It'll be foolish, but, you know, Gary and I will be there to add some sensibility to all the rankings. So it looks like we're good for +3, by the way. It looks like that's going to officially be the number for the weekend. So an MDF is going to be in play right now unless Dow ends up falling out. And who is at +2? I guess there is the potential that Garrigus, Yagabombs, or Answer. Let's bring those up for a second here, Paul, and click on them, see if we can. We're gonna, like I said, we're testing this out right now. So let's go up to the -2 situation. And let's open up Bobby Garrigus. Let's see what Bobby Garrigus is up to here. See what his shot tracker is all about. It appears like he has, let's click on the play-by-play. That's a bit hard to figure out right now. Oh, 2 feet for par. So if he makes his par on that 2 feet on #9, then he is one that can't drop back. Let's see what Yagabombs is up to, getting through the snake pit here. He is currently on the green, 49 feet to the hole. Click on Answer as well, Paul, and we'll see where he is at. So I guess if Jagger 3 putts, he could drop back a little bit, or would he need to 4 putt? I guess he would need to 4 putt. I guess it's always in the cards with Jagger. And Answer is, with 2 holes left to play, he's going to be teeing off on #8 on the par 3. And if he goes bogey, drops to 4, he could take himself out of that mix. That's only pertaining to if there's actually going to be an MDF or not. It really does look like there's going to be an MDF. If it would take Dow and Zheng. Man, I hate this guy's name. I hope he doesn't make the stupid cut or ever comes back in my life again until someone can actually figure out how to tell me how to do this. But if 2 of those guys drop back, or if Dow drops back and one of those 3 guys ends up at +4, then there wouldn't be an MDF, and then you can take whoever the hell you want for weekend golf, but that's looking very unlikely at the moment. So let's just take out some more questions. Barkley going #1 now. I did a show on yesterday, actually, with Matt Kelly where we broke down a lot of the prospects. He's not a big proponent of taking running backs in the first round. I'll have some more draft guys on too, but he does love Barkley a lot and doesn't think it's the craziest thing in the world for the Browns to do that. So I can see it happening. Talib and Marcus Peters are now on the Rams, ? Yes, they are. Dow is pronounced doe, like a female deer. Thanks, Eric. That is. Zhejiang's nickname is Marty. You got Eric Nordham has a whole lot of information on Marty Doe as we go forward. I think you might be trolling me on that. I am going to have to confirm that somewhere else because that just sounds strange. Why Marty? And do we have a new Party Marty to inject into our lives? Because old Party Marty Lair was partying too hard last night, had a terrible day and missed the cut. That was terrible. What percentage of your lineups are looking at 6 of 6? I believe I only played 20 lineups. 1 for sure, as long as Chris Kirk ended up making the cut. I think I might have an outside shot at 2. I have so much going on in front of me right now, I can't check it. 1 for sure, maybe 2. So I'm in that 5% margin with everyone else. So I'm right along the industry trend right now of all players. If you have like 30% 6 of 6, you're probably going to make a lot of money this weekend if you can find a winner in there. Let's see. That'll do it. All right. So +3 is the cut. Like I mentioned, the 5 guys, if you're just tuning in right now, that I like for weekend golf, and maybe I'll tweet out some more later. The Boz at $7,400, Charles at $81, Knox at $7,600, Nick Watney I really like at $7,300, one of the worst putters so far this week. And he's been excellent. And Sean O'Hare's number 1 tee to green of any player in the field right now, losing almost 2 strokes on the green. And plus, he's someone that is right around the top of the leaderboard that people might look at and be like, Sean O'Hare's not going to do anything. I want to take some of the other guys at -3 who I like a little bit better. Sean O'Hare is looking like a really good play for DraftKings Weekend Golf. So thank you for sticking around for the pilot episode of the Cut Sweats. Might do this a little bit earlier next week as we have more relevant names. The next time I would think about doing this is the Masters on that Friday. So hopefully we can get some more people. Hopefully we work the kinks out of the system. Maybe we can get some graphical accompaniments to go along with everything. You let me know on Twitter. Don't leave it in the chat because I'm not going to go back and look at the chat. Hit me up on Twitter for some suggestions or maybe a guest or something like that. Things that you would like to see added to the show rather than just have me rambling up here looking at 3 different screens at once and being overwhelmed. Maybe a way we can streamline this just a little bit. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for helping out, telling a friend. And I just did a show with Adam Levitan, which is live right now on the podcast feed under the Pat Mayo Experience and the DraftKings YouTube page. We talk some crypto, we talk some day-to-day life, how to properly use Twitter if you're trying to market yourself, the point of having a website that is personalized. There's a lot of stuff in there, not a whole lot of like analysis in terms of sports. We talk about niche sports and how there is a market for that. If you want to try to get into a soft market in terms of DraftKings, that's probably where it is right now. We were talking about how that pertains to the MMA, NHL, and World Cup upcoming. That could be a spot where you find it. Levitan said he had a lot of success playing WNBA. So there's a lot of fun nuggets in there. Adam was an awesome guest. I did his show earlier in the week, and we talked about how to make golf broadcasting a little bit better, and you can catch my thoughts there on the DF Edge podcast as well. So thank you for tuning in. Everyone have a great weekend. Win some cash. And if you win some cash, tweet it at me, and I'll retweet it, and I'll make it look like I did well so you can cover up for me being totally awful at this, all right? Thanks for watching. Good luck this weekend. I'll see you next time.